Welcome to today's video. Are you feeling lost or unsure about your journey in life? Maybe you're going through a tough time and are in need of some guidance. Well, my friend, I am here to tell you that God has a message for you today, and it's waiting to be discovered. So, grab your cup of tea and get ready to be inspired by some of the most powerful verses from the scriptures. These words will help guide you on your journey and remind you of God's unfailing love and purpose for your life. Let's start with the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. This verse shows us that no matter what we may be going through, God has a plan for us, and it's a good one. He wants us to succeed and have hope for the future. Can you feel the love and warmth of His words embracing you in your time of need? Next, let's turn to the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. This verse reminds us to trust in God and His guidance. When we submit to God and trust in Him, our paths become clear, and our hearts are filled with peace and serenity. Moving on to the New Testament, we find another well-known line from the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verses 6 to 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. These words are a reminder that when we come to God with our worries and troubles, He will provide us with the peace that surpasses all understanding. It's a feeling that will help you navigate through even the toughest times with a sense of hope and love. In the book of Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10, we find another comforting verse. Be still and know that I am God. This verse reminds us that sometimes, we just need to be still and listen to God. In a world that is constantly moving, it can be challenging to find a moment of peace and quiet. But when we take the time to be still, we can feel God's presence and His love, and our hearts are filled with gratitude and awe. Another crucial message from God can be found in the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 37 to 39. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. These verses remind us that God desires us to love Him with all our heart and to love our fellow man. When we love others as ourselves, we become vessels of God's love and reflect His character to those around us. Can you feel the warmth of God's love flowing through you as you internalize these words? Finally, in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, we read, And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. This verse serves as a reminder that no matter what we may be going through, God is working everything out for our good. We may not always understand why things happen the way they do. God's love for us is never-ending, and it's important to remember that even during the toughest times. We all go through challenges and struggles in life, but it's important to hold on to the hope and promises that God has given us. The verses we've discussed today are just a few examples of the many messages of love, guidance, and comfort that we can find in the scriptures. As we go through our daily lives, let's strive to remember these messages and live them out in our actions towards others. Let's love our neighbors as ourselves, trust in God's plan for us, and seek His presence through prayer and stillness. When we do these things, we will find ourselves on a path that leads to fulfillment and joy. Thank you for watching today's video, and I hope that these messages have touched your heart and brought you closer to God. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future content, and may God bless you abundantly today and always.